Hey, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a classic, Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. And listen, this thing is way more than just another motivational book. It's really a blueprint, a kind of owner's manual for taking control of literally everything: your mind, your emotions, your body, even your finances. And the central idea? It's powerful, but it's also simple. The ability to live a truly extraordinary life, well, it's already inside of you. It's just waiting to be woken up.
So, here's how we're going to break this all down. First up, we'll explore that whole sleeping giant idea, what that's all about. Then, we're going to get into the real nuts and bolts, the power of your decisions and your beliefs. After that, we'll take a look at what Robbins calls your master control system, which is fascinating. Then, we'll check out a super practical 7-day action plan. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by talking about what it really means to master your destiny.
All right, let's jump right in with the big idea, the one that really holds this entire book together.
Okay, so to kick things off, Robbins uses this really powerful metaphor. He basically says that inside every single one of us, there's this giant of potential, you know? But for most of us, it's just lying there, completely dormant, buried under all these layers of fear and self-doubt we've picked up over the years. So the key here, and this is important, isn't about trying to find something you don't have. It's all about uncovering the incredible power that you already possess.
So, you might be asking, what is this sleeping giant, really? Well, it's pretty simple. It's just all that untapped potential you have right now. The entire point of this book is to give you the actual tools you need to wake that giant up, to take back your personal power, and to finally start living a life that's genuinely filled with passion and purpose.
Okay, so let's move on to the first set of actual tools for waking that giant up. And this is where the real work starts, you know? It all begins with two of the most fundamental forces in your life, your decisions and your beliefs. Now this, right here, is a total cornerstone of Robbins' whole philosophy. He argues, really convincingly, that it's not our conditions or our circumstances that shape our lives. Not at all. It's our decisions. But he makes this crucial distinction. He says most people don't actually make decisions. They just kind of state their preferences, like, I'd like to lose weight. A real decision, he says, is a commitment. It's when you choose a new path and you completely cut off any other possibility. And here's the litmus test. This is how Robbins separates a real, true decision from just a simple wish. It is all about action. It's simple. If you say you've decided to do something, but your actions haven't changed, well, then you haven't truly decided. Not really. It's such a simple but incredibly powerful way to test your own commitment. But look, taking new action can feel impossible, right? Especially when all our old, limiting beliefs get in the way. So Robbins lays out this really practical 3-step process to tackle them head-on. First, you've got to identify those invisible scripts, the beliefs that are secretly running the show in your head. Second, you have to challenge them, like really question if they're even true. And finally, you have to consciously, deliberately replace them with new, empowering beliefs that actually serve you. And that leads us perfectly into our next section, which is all about understanding the internal system that controls pretty much everything: how you think, how you feel, and how you act. So how do you actually control your emotions? I mean, they can feel so random, right? Well, Robbins introduces this concept he calls the triad. He argues that your emotional state isn't random at all. It's a direct result of just 3 things. Number 1, your physiology, literally how you use your body. Number 2, your focus, what you choose to pay attention to. And number 3, your language, the words you use both out loud and in your head. And just think about it for a second. It makes perfect sense. If you're all slumped over, focusing on everything that's wrong and telling yourself this is a total disaster, of course you're going to feel terrible. But if you just stand up straight, shift your focus to a possible solution, and say, okay, this is a challenge, your entire state can change in an instant.
Now, to get that lasting sense of fulfillment, you have to go even deeper. Robbins explains that we all have values, things like love, security, or adventure, these emotional states we want to experience. But here's the catch. We also have these unconscious rules for what has to happen for us to feel those things. And so many people suffer because their rules for feeling happy or successful are just so ridiculously rigid that it's impossible for them to ever win the game. So the key is to get clear on your values, but then create new, more flexible rules that actually make it easier to feel fulfilled.
And this right here leads to an absolutely crucial point. Robbins says the strongest force in the human personality is our need to stay consistent with our identity, with the story we tell ourselves about who we are. Think about that. So what that means is, for any change to truly stick, to actually last, you have to shift your identity first. You have to start telling yourself a new, more powerful story about who you are and what you're capable of.
Okay, so we've covered some really big ideas, right? Now let's look at how Robbins brings this all down to earth and makes it super practical with a concrete plan to get you started right away.
So to put all of this into action, Robbins gives you a 7-day plan. Each day is dedicated to mastering one specific area of your life. And it's a system that's really designed to build immediate momentum. I mean, it covers the whole shebang: your emotions, your physical health, your relationships, your finances, all the way to how you manage your time and connect with a sense of purpose and contribution. For example, on the day for emotional mastery, the goal isn't just to try and feel good. No, it's to actually practice identifying your negative patterns and then consciously shifting your state using that triad we talked about earlier. It's all about applying these concepts immediately to get real, tangible results.
Okay, now let's zoom out for a minute and look at the bigger picture. What does a truly mastered life even look like when you start applying all of these principles consistently? Well, these are really the big end goals, the pillars of that life. Financial mastery, that's not just about piling up money. It's about creating true freedom. And those deep, fulfilling relationships, Robbins presents those as the ultimate reward in life. But underneath all of that is this fundamental commitment you have to make to raise your standards and simply refuse to tolerate mediocrity from yourself ever again.
So the big question is, how do you actually build that life? Well, Robbins offers a simple 3-part strategy for creating a future that genuinely excites you and pulls you forward. First, you have to set goals that are emotionally charged, goals that really mean something to you. Second, you visualize what it's like to achieve them every single day. And third, and this is key, you have to take massive, consistent action to make them a reality.
All right, let's bring all of these incredible ideas together now into one final, powerful takeaway.
If you remember only one thing from this whole breakdown, please let it be this. The core message of this book is about ultimate empowerment. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not broken. You possess an incredible power inside of you, right now, and all of these tools, they're just designed to help you reclaim it.
And this quote, man, it just perfectly captures the spirit of the entire book. It's this incredible call to action to embrace the entire human experience, not just the wins, but the mistakes and all the messy parts too. It's really about getting in the game and fully participating in your own life, instead of just sitting back and watching it from the sidelines.
So there you have it. We've explored the blueprint. We've seen the tools for changing your beliefs, for mastering your emotional state, and for designing a future that truly inspires you. And that leaves us with just one final essential question, which is really the whole point of this entire book. Now that you know all of this is possible, how will you use these tools to shape your destiny?